Hi class, this is Mr. Thomas. Today I wanted to show you how to set up a compositional notebook for my class. In this class you'll need to have a good lab notebook that you keep with you and bring to class every day so that we can do our notes, experiments, labs, and other work in an organized notebook. So first thing you need to do is get a compositional notebook. Go to the store. They're generally inexpensive and they're lightweight. Try not to have a spiral bound notebook. I'd prefer you to get a compositional notebook so we don't rip out pages. On the first page, you can open it up and you can write table of contents. Okay, so go ahead and write on the first page, table of contents. Like so. And then from there, we're going to put a little page number in the corner. Page 1. Okay. And after you've done that, we're going to put table of contents on each successive page. In fact, I've got an old notebook from a former student that you can take a look at and you can see, now he wrote in cursive, but you can kind of see each successive page, both page 2 and page 3, and we're going to use all 4 pages, so even page 4 it will also be table of contents. So all 4 pages are going to be table of contents. We're going to use all these pages, so we want to do front and back. So I always get the question, should I do every other page? Nope, I want you to do front and back. Okay, so table of contents on this page, table of contents, this will be page 2. And you put a little page number in the corner, page 2. We've got table of contents, page 3. And if you want to, you don't have to put the P every time. You just want to put a number, that's fine. And probably be easier if we put it in the corner. So we'll make this page 4, table of contents. Okay. You can see it's almost bleeding through a little bit because I'm using a little darker pen, but at the same time, it should be pretty clear. Okay, so we got table of contents page 1, table of contents page 2, page 3, and again we can put that page number in the corner for page 2, page 4 table of contents. Okay, now it's time to make our first entry. Now we're going to go back to page 1. And we're going to put our first entry, which is going to be notebook policy. So go ahead and write under table of contents, write notebook policy. Notebook policy. And that's going to be on page 5, okay? Again, we don't always have to put page 5. Some people like to put the ... all the way down, but since we have the blue line, that's unnecessary. And now after you've written notebook policy on the first line with the page 5, let's now turn to page 5, okay? So we're going to turn over to page 5, and we're going to write notebook policy. Okay, notebook policy, and that's going to be on page 5 here, okay? All right, so our notebook policy, we just have 4 rules. Number 1, bring this notebook to class every day. Okay. Number 2. Do not tear pages out. Okay. So again, do not tear pages out. Make sure you only use this notebook for this class. Don't tear out pages to use it for your math class or your English class. This is strictly a science notebook. We want to make sure that we have all the pages because we're going to need them. As I showed you at the beginning of this video, there's people that use every single page, and we will need all those pages by the end of the year. We have 4 pages of table of contents for a reason. Number 3, always use pen or pencil, comma, no marker. And you can see why with my dark pen today, we don't want it to bleed through. As you can see over here, I've got a little bit of bleeding through because I'm using a darker pen. And markers or Sharpies are much worse. We don't want to do that. You'll be docked points for that. So try to focus on a pen or a pencil, no marker. From time to time, we'll use colored pencils, but at the same time, I prefer you not to use any colored markers. Okay, and lastly, number 4, three things will be graded. And those 3 things are, I'm gonna make bullet points here for you. Completeness. So making sure you have everything in there, whether it's notes, a lab, an activity, everything that we have completed should be in your notebook when I grade it. Neatness. Now again, when I write this, I know some people will immediately jump to, I have horrible handwriting. Am I going to be docked points? Not really. I'm not grading your handwriting per se. Now I need to be able to read it, but what I'm going to be looking for is that you haven't torn out pages, you're not using marker. I don't want to see any doodle marks, scribbles, notes from your friend. We don't want anything of that. This is a dedicated science notebook. You shouldn't have notes from other classes in this notebook. This is strictly for our class. So neatness, as long as I can read it, and you don't have doodle marks. Now, if you want to doodle on other pieces of paper or scratch paper, that's fine. I know that helps some people out, but I prefer this notebook to be clean and free of all other extra stuff, okay? And lastly, the last thing that will be graded is organization. We need to have a page number in the corner each time. So like a number 5 here, this page 5, we need an entry for that particular assignment or notes or lab. And we need to have our table of contents up to date. So I need to be able to go to the table of contents and find your entry, okay? So the 3 things will be graded: completeness, neatness, and organization. And I will be grading your notebook from time to time, making sure that you have all those things. One last thing, I'm going to close the notebook now. Make sure, and on the front cover, and this you can use a Sharpie for, you're going to go ahead and write your name. Okay, so I'm going to write Mr. Thomas. That way I know what person or whose notebook that is. And also you can go ahead and write down your class. Like, let's say I was in biotechnology class, so I can write biotech, and that would be my notebook. And I'd submit that, making sure my table of contents was up to date, and that each page had a page number with an entry going forward. Like I said, a prior notebook, you can see we're going to use pretty much all those pages. Okay, we're going to go through and have this all completed by year's end. As most years go, we use pretty much all the pages. Oh, one quick question people generally have is, what happens if you're absent or you miss a day? Do you need to put it on the same exact page as everyone else? So let's say we have someone misses the sea turtle notes on page 11. They miss that day. They come in the next day, and we're doing, on that day, chapter 3 review. Well, what do? Do you flip-flop these? Do you leave a page? The answer is it doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't matter. As long as your entry matches your table of contents and everything is complete in there, you'll get full credit. Remember, completeness is what I'm going to be looking for. And we're going to end up on all different pages anyway. Sometimes, and honestly, the reason is, really quickly, some people have bigger handwriting or smaller handwriting, depending on their style of notes. So don't worry if you're on a different page than someone else. Eventually, we're all going to be on different pages really quickly, because some people might take 2 pages for an entry and some people might only take 1. But at the same time, I'm going to check your notebook against your table of contents in order to give you points. As long as everything's in there, as long as everything's organized, and as long as everything is relatively neat, you'll get full credit. That's how you set a notebook up for my class. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. This is Mr. Thomas signing off for now.